I'm Tony Ruiz of Gold Derby here with Taraji P. Henson, who had an absolutely smashing guest starring role this season as Quinto Brunson's mother on Abbott Elementary. And Taraji, first of all, we were just saying how you and I are both huge fans of this show, and I'm curious why it is you think that this show seems to have struck so much of a chord.
Well, the writing is clever. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's one of those down to earth shows that hit home that people can identify with. We've all gone to school. We've all had teachers in our lives, and there's never really been a show to showcase teachers, honestly, and what they go through, and to go into their lives to see them. I actually am a huge fan because I was a substitute teacher before my career took off. So I have an affinity for the show because I was a teacher.
So your approach to play, Quinta's mother, Vanetta, and so how does that get presented to you? Or does she just say, "Hey, will you come play my mom?" And you're like, "Absolutely." Or, what was the process?
Sort of like that. Well, we were competing against each other on That's My Jam, the Jimmy Fallon show. And I told her that I was a huge fan of the show and how proud of her I was. And, as a sidebar, I was like, girl, if you ever need me on a show, I'm here, and I guess she took it to heart because like 2 or 3 weeks later, she was calling. And I was like, absolutely.
And so what did she tell you about Vanetta at first? Or was it all just in the script?
It was all in the script, but they give you the character breakdown. And then once I got to set, I went to her room and we sat down and further discussed it. And she was like, Vanetta's one of those mothers who doesn't want to grow up. And she had her kids really, really young by 2 different men. One was a drug dealer and one was an artist. And then, a lot of the information is in the script. Like Ava goes, "Oh, I remember seeing Janine's mom. We've danced on some of the same tables at the club." So, she's just one of those women who is fighting age. She doesn't want to grow up and she's still in the club. Like, come on, lady, grow up. And it was literally the reverse roles raising her daughters. It seems like Janine was more of the mom than Vanetta.
You bring up the Ava, and I love the scene where Ava's about to make one of her usual put downs of Janine, and you just give her a look.
Yes, mom there. Like, I'm the only one that can put her down. You can't.
Well, but I think that's one of the things that was so effective about the role itself is that, yes, she has these flaws, but at the heart of it, you can tell that she actually really does love her daughter in her own way.
In her own way, in her own special way. It's just the only way she knows how to love.
I've spoken to a lot of members of the cast and I've spoken to some of the behind the scenes people talking about the atmosphere where the cameras really are a part of the show and they're almost like characters. Was that a kind of a new experience for you, or was that something that you were just like, oh, okay?
Well, it's breaking the fourth wall for me. Like I've never had that experience on any other set except when I flub a line and or I'm just joking around after right before they yell cut. But to actually be able to break the fourth wall was kind of fun. And I was asking her, do I get to break the fourth wall? That's just something I do. Am I aware of the cameras? And she was like, yeah, you can be aware.
Well, how much did you provide any input? Like, were you allowed to play around and improvise a little bit?
Yeah, I was pretty free to improvise. It was a really easy set, and once I have the character under my belt, and I know exactly who this person is, and I always add a little extra. And she was very open to that.
I have to tell you, one of my favorite scenes of the entire season is kind of the face-to-face with Sheryl Lee Ralph in the teacher's lounge.
Yes, Barbara.
Yes, the way you said her name, by the way, which was hysterical. But going into that scene, do those kind of scenes make you just excited to get in and play with them?
Oh, Absolutely, especially when you're acting opposite another thespian. You know, like she comes from theater, I come from theater. Like I couldn't wait. It was like I was salivating.
The look of Vanetta.
Yeah,
How much input did you have on that? It's as soon as she walked in, you know exactly who this woman is.
yeah. I had a little bit of input because at first they didn't want me to be in print because they had Janine in print. I said, but it makes sense. Like she's still my daughter, and why she? It seems like she got that from me. She just has her own eclectic way of putting her prints together, and I'm just like, hey, see me, hear me. You gonna see me before you hear me. You know what I mean? Because of all the colors and everything. And so they were like, yeah, you have a point there. So they just went with it.
In the last scene with you and Quinto, where Quinto's really telling you how it's going to be, there's a strange kind of back and forth where at one moment she's the mother and you're the child, but then it kind of reestablishes you're still the mother that she loves, and
Exactly.
it's so touching.
Well, you know, I have a way of doing that. I know how to turn on the maternal.
Well, and it's interesting. I remember when I first heard that you were going to play the part, I was like, Taraji's playing Quinta's mother? I was like, is that are those some actresses really get upset when they're asked to play maternal roles. How do you kind of approach that? Or do you just take it as the part?
It's the part, and I'm the mom, and it makes sense. She kind of resembles me, especially around the eyes. So, and you know, what soothed me, my ego was when she said, "Oh, she's a young mother. She had her kids young," and I was like, "Okay, that makes me feel a little better." But you got to remember, I played mother since the beginning of my career. Like, and even Baby Boy, I was a young
Baby
mother.
Boy, which is one of my favorite movies, by the way.
Yeah, I was a young mother there. Hustle and Flow, I was a mother. You know, I've been playing these maternal roles since the beginning of my career. So, you know.
I love you going into doing, you did the live version of Annie where you played Miss Hannigan, and the Color Purple is getting ready to come out. And, we're seeing this kind of, musical renaissance, I think, in media. And, has that always been something you've always wanted to do?
Well, I studied musical theater when I went to Howard University, and I did a lot of musicals there. But when it was time to graduate, I was already a young mother, and I had to make a decision. Do I go pursue music or musical theater or theater in New York, or do I go out to LA? And I don't know, the music industry just seemed really dark and uncertain to me as a young mother and single mother at that. And I just felt like the obvious choice and the best choice to have a healthy, so my son could grow up in a healthy environment, was to move to LA and pursue acting, because at least I'm protected by a union. And I have insurance and things like that, music industry and those artists just, unfortunately, they don't have that option.
You've had in the last, several years, these kind of really big moments with Empire and Hidden Figures and things like that. What dictates your choice of projects?
The character has to scare the hell out of me.
Really?
Yeah, because that means there's something I have to overcome, a fear, and I will be some way transformed. And if I'm transformed, then the audience will be transformed. If I go read it and it's like, I feel like I've done this before, or it just doesn't scare me, then chances are I won't accept the role. I'll pass.
And the landscape of entertainment in media has changed so much, with television really in a way kind of, we keep referring to it as the golden age of television. What kind of shows attract you? What do you watch?
Oh, I love Your Honor. I just got into Dexter. I'm on season 5 right now. I loved Abbott Elementary, of course. Um, Snowfall, P Valley.
Mm.
I said Your Honor. I still watch The Office. I still watch Martin. Those are the shows I fall asleep to because then I don't have nightmares. What other show? Oh, A Reasonable Doubt. Trying to think what other shows that had me in a chokehold, like Snowfall, because I was of that era. And so it was interesting to see how the government played its role. Because I would hear tales about it, but to actually see it was just like, whoa, this really was happening. And I remember when I was standing in front of the television and they was showing crack on the news, and they was like, the new drug. And I said to my mom, what is that? She was like, crack, stay away from it, say no. So yeah. Let me see. It was another show that had me in a chokehold that I would watch in real time.
Really?
Yeah, because Your Honor. I think I watched, because by the time I caught on to Your Honor, it was the second season. I watched the first season like straight. I think I stayed up 24 hours and watched the first season. And then I started getting into the second season, and then I caught up, and it was like, oh, what is it coming on again?
Well, what I love about all the shows that you're talking about is that they're all so distinctively different. They're also distinctive. They're also different. And you have Abbott Elementary, and Quinto's voice is so authentic and so, real. I say that as a teacher, having been in those teachers' lounges before. Yeah. What is it about Quinta that just makes her so good at this?
Because she understands comedy. To be that's a gift. You can't teach a person comedy. You can sort of kind of teach them how to act, but you really can't teach comedy. That's a real gift. And she has it. She understands characters. She understands dialogue. Clearly cameras, and, and making the cameras a part of this world. She's a gift. She's a gifted young lady. And she seems to be very relatable. And I think that's why the show has so much love, because people relate to these people. That I feel like I know these teachers.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I work with some of those teachers.
Exactly.
For better or worse.
Exactly.
So do you think that there's a possibility we could see Vanetta return?
I think she set it up for me to return for sure. And I would love to. So, the next time you talk to Quinta, ask her.
What's on the horizon for you? What else do you have going on outside the color purple?
I have a lot of things in the chamber, but they're on hold right now because of the pending strikes. So not really much to talk about there. I have a few, I will do one thing I can talk about that was already released to the press. Was I'm going to be the new face of the new Candid Camera.
Oh, that's so exciting.
That's so exciting. And
because that's my era. That's
mine as well. So I'm excited about that. And I used to watch Candid Camera all of the time. Never missed it.
And so, I know that, obviously things are on hold because of the strikes and things like that. But do you think Vanetta would return slightly different, or will we see kind of the same Vanetta?
If I know Quinta a little bit and how brilliant she is, you will see this woman arc. You will see an arc. No person stays the same, hopefully.
We'll just let that one go. Go right there.
Exactly.
Taraji, it's really been just a pleasure to talk to you. Everybody go to goldderby.com, make your predictions for the Emmys, and stay tuned for more interviews with contenders throughout Emmy season. Taraji P. Henson, a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care and God bless you. I love teachers. You have a special place in my heart.
Thank you so much.